Looks like it's coming in. Well, tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready to go. If you'll just keep admitting them if someone comes in late, we'll get started. Well, welcome everybody. I'm going to jump right in. It's contract season, so welcome to hell, Osign, and we're going to get started and show you how to use this product. It was the most inexpensive one that I found, and kind of more bang for your buck. And so I'm just going to show you what it is, and we're going to start off with an overview, and then kind of go a little bit into the Cognos to how to prep your data, and we'll start there. So I'm going to share my screen. Desktop 1. All right, and this is HelloSign. So I'm logged in, and it's pretty clean interface. I assume everybody can see my screen. Just yay or nay? Let's see.
Yes, sir, we can see.
I've lost my view of the participants, but anyway.
I'm letting them in.
Okay, all right, no problem. So you can create a template, sign or send. The first thing you're going to need to do is create a template, whether you're wanting to do a bulk send, which is where you send out to, all of your employees or a whole campus worth, however you want to organize it. And that requires a CSV file, which we're going to get into with the Cognos. But you've got to have a template where you can send individuals, because you're always going to have some makeups or some changes that you need to do. So let's look at the template to start with. So I'm going to show you the ones I've already created and just kind of go over that rather than create one, but you'll get the idea. So I've got some that I've made new. And so this one that's May 2nd, I can't remember which one is my newest one. I think it's this one. We're going to edit it just so we can look at it. So I just click the little buttons, and I'm going to go over how it's laid out and how you would lay one of these out. Okay, so the pink and the blue is important for bulk send, very important for bulk send, and HelloSign's documentation kind of assumes you understand this. So I'm going to go over that first, just to let you know. So these fields are ones that I created that come from my Cognos file or my Excel file or CSV file. But they're pink because I have selected the assignment over here. So this is a text box. If you look over here in the type of signature fields, when you're creating, you just drag and click and drag to make it the size that you want and place the box where you want. But if it's pink, that means that's the sender, meaning I'm sending the document or the contract out. So I'm populating this field. Now I can populate that manually if I'm just sending one, or I can populate that with a CSV file if I use the bulk send feature. So I had to change that because when you create a field, it defaults to the blue, which is who you're sending to. They're going to put that information in. There are two required fields for the document. That is the email, which is blue. That comes from when you're sending it, and then the signature field, and then I use the date signed. I drug that over there so I would know when they signed it on the document. You have a report that lets you know that, kind of an audit trail actually, and I'll show you that. But that just puts it on the document itself. So I added that. And really, if you wanted to add a text field, I'm not gonna edit, but I'll just drag one over and see it's blue by default. And that's not going to get you the result that you want, but I would just click here, change that to sender, change the name. Now this is really important, the name on the box. So if you have a field such as full name, and case is important as well. You'll notice my full name at the top is lowercase. You put it in the merge field here, and you can give it text so that you'd know, like if you were filling it out. I just usually do that the same way. So that's just the text to let whoever's filling it out know what it is. And so that would place the full name right there. I can click and move it afterwards anywhere I want. The order of your columns in your CSV file is not important. It's the name of the headers that are important. And there's one key factor that the help from HelloSign sort of assumes and leaves out that I'll show you that I had to figure out. So I'm going to delete that field. I just wanted to show you how to create one for that. If I was to leave it blue, that would allow the sender to type that in. So there may be a case where you have a really generic form and you want them to type in their name and sign it. That's fine. But that would be a blue field for that case. So I'm just going to delete that one, and we're going to go to next. Or is any questions about the layout? So I do need to point out I had to import a PDF when I created the template, and I have that where you can look at it. Let's see.
So you wrote it in Word and then changed it to PDF?
Yes.
Okay.
And I did mine. That's it's up to you. What you can use Word, because I do have one in Word. Yeah. Okay. I got the wrong list up. Here's my template. Sorry, had to find my file. The reason I did it in actually I did it in Adobe InDesign because it's easier to lay out images such as this WM at the top. But I do have one in Word. In fact, I'll show you that one. Because when I started this process, before I learned HelloSign, that I could do manuals with it as well. And get it to open. All right, this is the Word version, just so that you know. If you're familiar with Word, you can definitely use Word. I had to use text boxes for this at the top, and you can make your template. Now, for Word, you'll notice that comes to the signatures, and that was a question that came up. How do you get your signatures on there? You can print out your template, have your board members sign the template, and then scan that in. But you're probably going to lose some quality of resolution when you scan it back from a paper document. So what I did, and this is what you have to do for if you use Optio Print for your check system on the in eFinance, is I just have a PNG image. So it's .png because that allows for a transparent background, meaning the background on the other than the signature itself, it is blank. I don't really, you can see it's not like a white box. So you can see if I move it, you can see behind, not in the background.
Jim, I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second because
Sure.
we have people falling off and coming back on. There's
Okay.
forums out there, and I guess a lot of people are losing their internet. If you
Okay.
off, we are recording this, so you'll be able to see it again if you want.
Yeah.
Just so, because I've got people texting me while they're
Sure.
falling off.
Yeah. So that's just an image, just to I've noticed some, to admit. That's just an image that I overlaid, and you can do that in Word. You can do that in a PDF if you have Adobe Acrobat, the full version. You can do editor there. And I sent a kind of a 3 options to, I think she's on here, and I can't remember who asked me that question. You might speak up. At what she asked what she would need for the training, and I said a template, and then I gave some more information about how to do a digital signature and apply it to your template. But we'll go back to that. So that's a flattened, and that's on my template, and this is the document that I imported into HelloSign when on the option to create template. So these fields are what I filled in with the pink boxes that I showed earlier. Any questions about the template? I kind of want to demo it and send some of you guys. So we're going to use your email address with some bogus information. If that's, does everybody seem to get back on, Kathy?
They're coming in and out.
Okay. All right.
And I'll
Well, let's
repeat
go.
the ones that were out and are back in. If you fall
Okay.
off too much, don't worry. We are recording this, so you'll be able to see it again.
Okay. So this also has a preview option. So once you get all of your fields laid out, and the names of the fields are important, so you need to, they have to match your columns that we're going to look at from the Cognos file. So I've got everything laid out. You can see this is the template that we went over. It's just in the background. And what HelloSign does or controls is these fields. So you can look at a preview, and this is what it will look like to your recipient. That's it's really all there is to it. I did not use a whole lot of these autofill. I did name and email, and I used date signed. The signature field I certainly used. I didn't use the initial. I mean, you could. I used the text box field. I did not use the checkbox field. I haven't tested that, so I haven't had this very long. But we're going to go to next. And does everything look right? Is this what you want to use? Sure. So I can save the template, which I don't really want to do because I've made a few changes. So I'll go back. Because I was in edit template, just if you forgot. But now we can just look at the templates and let's use one. So this is how you could do it manually. If you just had the information that you wanted to do. I have 3 templates here and my licensing allows me 15. These are all the same, just kind of revisions as I've built it to test different things out as I learned. So really, once I get done, I'm going to delete. When I land on, I think it's this one is my final one. When I land on it, that's the one I want to use, and I'll delete the others so I can make room for other templates, such as the disclosure forms, intent forms. These are good uses for HelloSign.
Jim, one of the things we did at Rogers years ago was we had a template for our contracts. It was not this nice, but our HR person, I gave it to them and they had permission for the board to hire by position. So if they were trying to lock up somebody so that sneaky Springdale wouldn't steal them, offer them a job, she could print out a contract right there as she hired them.
Sure. Yeah, and that's what we're going to do here, to where an individual, whoever's managing contracts could say use template. And I believe I actually have with my license maybe 3 to 5 other accounts, like other people that could log in and use this same system. So I could select a document. Since I click use that template, it's already there. And or I could upload a file to do that at that point, but I'm not going to do that. So the manual signer, I could actually put my name in here, put in my address. This is who we're sending it to. This is that one-off. They've got we got to get them hired now, and I put that wrong. So that's asking for the name, not the. Now I'm going to put, this is one thing I learned for organization purposes on the reporting side. I'm going to put my last name first and then first name. And from here, does anyone else need to receive a copy? No, not at this pace, but you could send that to yourself, whoever's managing the contract. So now on the full name, I can put this information. If that's my check location, if it's the contract year. So we're just entering it manually rather than pulling that same information from Cognos. And schedule title, this the field, this is actually certified or classified. So that's how I can use the same template for either classified or certified employees. So I'm going to put certified, and I'm one of those, I'm a certified individual, but my position is classified. So really you can do either one. All right. Original hire date. Okay, this is something that we recently implemented, and I've talked with Kathy and several of you before, to rid ourselves of the annual hiring process with a list of existing employees. We were given support from ASBA attorneys, our board attorney, and other organizations that have done this before. We don't do that anymore. So we got rid of that process. And so, but for the contract, that's when they were originally hired, because all new hires do go before the board. And so whatever their date of their hire, then that is what goes on their contract. So I hired in here, I don't know, June or July 2003, I think. All right, title. And let's see. Okay, 81, 81S, and so forth. That is additional duty. So not everybody has additional duty, but if they are a coach, and a lot of this is athletic coach, then they get a stipend for that coaching position. And I'm pulling that out of Cognos, and I'll show you that in more detail. But let's just put something in here just to fill it out. If I didn't have anything, you would just skip over this, and it would just be blank under that section of additional duty. But let's just say a baseball coach, and the salary for that is $1,500. Oops, not that much.
Oh, go ahead, give it 15,000.
I am really good, so maybe I deserve it. But I skip on down the rest of them because I'm not using those. Days worked, 240 days. So I didn't put this in my template, so I added a text field, and it just says days, because if you could use that, let's say someone was hours, and you put it, 40 hours a week or so forth. I'm just putting days on this one. That's how I had to start. So the contract start date, July 1, 07, 01, 2022. And you can tab through these, but I'm having to scroll down to 06, excuse me, 30, 2023. All right, the salary, let's just put whatever number there. You can put the dollar sign because it doesn't, if you want the dollar sign, you can put that in there. But let's say it's 65,000. All right, number of pays, 24. We do twice a month. And then the pay rate, I don't know. We have to add that up. I'm just going to put something in there.
Yeah.
All right. Conditions. All right. Conditions is must maintain progress or something on their ALP. Now, I want to demo some of those and how I did that. All right, that does not come out of Cognos because that information is not in Cognos, and we have a lot of teachers that may be hired on alternative licensure or coaching positions that are linked to student participation, because we have some activities that some years they make, some years they don't. So we can't really pay a coach if there's no class to be held. It's kind of like having a class or cutting it out of your schedule due to participation. So we have some of those conditions that we put on our contracts. I use a VLOOKUP on the Excel file that I download after that. So I do a little bit of tweaking to my Excel file, but I link it up by the employee ID. So that way I can have a list of my conditions that may affect 25 people, 30 people across the district, but I link it to my file that I export, and it automatically matches it up. So I don't have to go through there and change that each time, or find that one or of 25, those 25 employees out of 550 employees. So that's a nice addition for that. Given date, let's just say it was 04/27. That's when they received it. 1, 2, 3, 4 Main. And let's just.
Now, Jim, is this a Cognos report you wrote, or is it one of the canned contracts ones?
It's a remake of one of the canned ones. Makisha Edwards sent it. I think it's under her account, a shared account or whatever on Cognos. Robin Keene from one of the ASBO, I think, mentoring things, sent that out. It was the one that had everything I needed. But I want to show you how I had to tweak it for HelloSign.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I'll find a Jason Garza's out there too.
Okay, and there may be a better one. This one had everything I needed.
But, out there, and so that's what I was going to tell people. You know, look through those ones from the AppScan reps. There's probably 10 at least versions. So find the one that works for you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and I agree. There's probably a ton out there. So
I'll get Jim to share his.
Yeah, I will share mine once I get it kind of really honed in for HelloSign. I'm wanting to rename some of the columns, so you don't have to do that in the Excel file after you download it. But I'm still trying to figure some of that out. So some of you on here may be able to help me with that. You can preview this. This down there, it's the body of the email which they will receive when you send it. So you could change, I could change this to demo employee contract. And then you put a message in here. So I don't know if I can make it bigger. Yeah, I can right here. So this is the message that I sent that went to all of them. Your contract is being distributed electronically this year, blah, blah, blah. You'll be able to sign it and print a copy for your records or save one. These are some things that I just wanted them to note about when it had to be submitted, about the change in the original hire date, just to kind of hopefully ward off a ton of questions. But as all of you know, most people do not read this, but at least I put it out there, so I felt good about that. But you can also preview this, so you're like, well, what does it really look like? What are they about to receive and sign? Notice the email is not populated. That's a blue field. That's for them. It's populated when I send it. So, and then their signature, they have to assign their signature. So this is what this date, that's because I've opened it. So that is the date of sign, but that will change when they receive it if they don't look at it till the next day. But it populated every field, and I see how this makes it a school employee classified contract. That way I can use the same template and put the information in here. This is really for organizations, some of this stuff for us, their employee contract number, the location number. That's why I put it, up at the top, kind of in the corner. Here's the additional duty. It plugged that in, so it gave that amount. Ours is already fully, if they have additional duty, it's calculated into their compensation, so that's what it was. There's my start date, end date, 240 days. Everything's looking good. And there's the conditions that were put in. So if you wanted to, let's say you found something on your preview, I don't like this, on your one-off contract, you could type in right here. You could just go in and start typing to make that change. So I really like that. I thought that was pretty slick. But once I'm confirmed everything looks good, I'm just going to close that and I'm going to send for signature. So this is coming to me. I put in my email address, and it does take a few minutes. So we're going to go on to some other stuff, and then we'll check my email to see if it came in. All right, let's go here. Let's put that back. All right, let's take a look at the Cognos field, because the next thing I want to show you is bulk send. Is there any questions? I know I go really fast, but I don't want to waste your time. So is there something that I did go over that someone's got a quick question about? All good? All right, we'll proceed. All right, next step, let's go to Cognos. All right, my report's ready for download. So I went ahead and did that. This is the report that I've tweaked, and I've named some of these fields. This is a requirement of HelloSign that I mentioned earlier that they don't really, they tell you, but they don't really come out and give you a good example. That when they give you a template of what a bulk send template is, they say it has to have name and email. That's all they give you. And name and email, they have to be typed exactly like this. This is the syntax. But for all the fields that you create that are pink, in order for it to recognize that that is the field, this part, employee ID, both the case, the spacing, all of that has to match exactly what your template looked like on the pink field when we gave it the title of each field. And you have to add underscore field. That basically, if that's in the column, that tells HelloSign, this is a field I want to pull from. You know, this is an active field to pull, and then this is the name of that active field I want to pull. So I went through and changed these on my export, but I do not know how to change the name of these nested fields. And this is one of the reasons I liked this report, but it also creates something, kind of creates a problem with it too. If you were just to pull this in, the additional duties, you know, because there's possibly you could have up to 5, you could have even more really, but most people won't have 5. It would do it to where it'd say Jim Rob additional duty 1, Jim, and then it'd have another row that said all Jim Rob's information and have additional duty 2. And that's not how we need our CSV file. And so this nested file, and it does create where I have to change something on the file with the column headers. I'll show you that. It's harder to explain than it is to show. But let's move past that. That's kind of the only hiccup I have with this current Cognos file. But I'm going to, once I have a little more time, I'm going to fix that so that when you download it, it's ready for HelloSign and your template. This, you can see the same thing where I've added underscore field to all that. There were some of these, I added conditions field. This does not come from the Cognos file. See how it's just a placeholder, because I link that up later. I link that up from my file. And the rest of these, they're for organization sort purposes that I put in here. Notice they do not have underscore field, so HelloSign ignores it, does not use that. So they can be there for you to help organize your file when you're prepping it for upload, but you can have whatever you want there as long as you don't put that underscore field on the header. So I ran this report and I'm going to open it and kind of give you an example. I was going to hide some of the information just so don't violate anybody's privacy. There it is. Okay, this is the way it comes out. I still have to tweak some of these. It should have the underscore field. Some of them do, but I think I'm changing something about the Cognos cell that is not what exports. But I wanted to point out, and I don't know why it does this, maybe when I changed the field, notice the tabs at the bottom. I don't use those first 3. I use the CLS and the CRT. This is my classified employees. this is my certified employee. That's due to the way, I used the Cognos file from Lakeisha Edwards. She had some prompts on it that I was not using. And when I deleted those prompts, I think it affected how it comes out, but it doesn't come all out. It's just split up in these ways. So I ignore all of these. I usually just hide them. And I don't know what this one is. I get rid of it too. All right, so let's look at the COV. And we can go through there and tweak our file. But the first thing you got to do is this header file, due to these nested fields with the additional duty, it's got merged fields. So I select the first two columns and then unmerge. Then I take these, I select those, copy it and paste it on that row and hit delete. All right, so this is the bulk of the work. There is some other cleanup, but I'm trying to get the Cognos field corrected so I don't have to deal with that. I use, let's see, Google Sheets. So here's my demo. And notice I have my conditions. These are things I add, and they come from this conditions here, and it links it up by the employee ID. But this is my demo file, and this is the one that's ready to download to CSV for HelloSign. And I've changed the names, and I'd like to put some people's email addresses in here. Let's see. Kathy, is yours just K Hanlon?
K Hanlon at apsrc.net. And I'd like mine for $1 million, please.
Okay.
With 2
All right.
days worth of use.
Well, let's just check it out. Let's change that right here. This is actually Bugs Bunny, but it's going to go to Kathy's email address. And you can also, let's say you made changes, and I was talking, I think Sharon Chicolot was asking, and I always feel like I've mispronounced her last name, so sorry. Was asking, was saying they were changing the calendar. And so she had to change all of them. One thing you could do on your file, if you needed to get contracts out, and then you could go back and correct it in eFinance, is you could just change these fields. And then that way you're not having to get back into eFinance before you can export and get it out. You can change it right here, and that's what will be sent to them in their contract
We've seen
automatically.
a lot of that this year with all the alternative calendars, and you may just want to put, you're 190 days between July 1st and June 30th.
Yeah.
And then, your supervisor and you will figure out your days, or when the calendar comes out, you'll know. The other thing is with the AMI and stuff, the days change so many times anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It might be best just to hit that more generic.
Okay. Tim, what's your email address? Tim Taylor, you still out there?
Yes.
Let me unmute. T Taylor at msd3.org.
All right. Who else would like to receive one? If you'll just talk over the microphone, because I've got multiple screens and I can't see my Zoom thing right now.
Okay, somebody.
Kendall?
You can do S Lovelace, LOVELACE at hps.k12.ar.us.
Okay. All right. You're going to receive one as Elmer Fudd. All right, who wants to be Foghorn Leghorn?
Oh,
Jim.
me, pick me.
Hey, Jim, go back and put a K in front of 12 on her email address.
Okay. Thank you. All right, Kendall.
K Wells at apsrc.net.
All right, so you'll be able to see that, and I'm sending myself Yosemite Sam, so I'll show you that on the demonstration. I chose some of these and deleted the names and changed them identifying information, but because they had a couple of them had additional fields and some of them had conditions. So Tim, you and Kathy will receive conditions on your contract. And so, or Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny will. So that's what we're going to use. Now that I've got that changed, I have all my other information already populated, and I need to change this given date. So that's actually today's date. I need to do that. There we go. And file, download, CSV. So there's my HelloSign CSV, and let's go back to HelloSign and do a bulk send. So here's my interface, and I want to do bulk send, and it's going to send to all, I think there was 5 or 6 of us. Select documents. Oh, wait. You probably do it that way. That's just not the way I'm comfortable with doing it. I go to my templates and I choose the template here that I want to use to send to them. So I'm going to right click here, and or not right click, just click on the 3 dots and click bulk send. And that way my template's already selected and I kind of know which one I'm using. This is the part where you upload your CSV.
Jim, excuse me, I'm still seeing your spreadsheet.
Still seeing my spreadsheet.
Okay, now I'm at your templates.
Okay, all right. Maybe it's just dragging a little.
Okay.
It should be seeing my folder, like a file folder where it says downloads, HelloSign contract.
I've got that now. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Good deal. So I'm going to open that one. Invalid column name, full name. I'm tell you why. I added that and I did not change I didn't put the underscore field. So let's just open that file up. Or let's go back to here. It's right here. So if it doesn't have the underscore field on the header, HelloSign will not recognize that as an import field. So I think all the rest of them do. So let's file, let's just download it again, CSV. And that works. Let's go back here. And we can just upload. We're going to use that same template. We're going to use this second one. All right, no errors, looking good. If I want to send a copy to anybody else, I could. I'm not going to do that. We're just going to put demo. And we'll change my text here. I can change that in the template. That's already preset in the template. But if I wanted to change it right now, I could just say demo for HelloSign. Does take a few minutes. So let's go back to that one that I sent myself earlier on the manual entry. So it's right here. And so I can click review and sign. I can read the message that no one reads, but it's out there for documentation purposes, and we can tell them that this was the information that was there. So I'm going to take you through the process as the signer, as who we've sent it to, by clicking review and sign. So this was the one-off that we typed the information in, and notice it's just got generic information on employee ID and that sort of stuff. But it's got my name, it's got the title, it's got my additional duty that we plugged in. Everything is kind of flattened and looks good. And I can click get started and kind of go through the workflow if I want, or I can just scroll down here, click it to sign. And I can do a couple of things. If I want to, I've got a saved signature on here that I've done, but HelloSign, you can draw it in. So if you're doing this on a tablet or a smartphone, it's very easy. I'm using a computer, so I'm not that savvy with a mouse, but I could use this if I wanted to. Not good with that. Or if I just wanted to type it in and change the font to more of a script font, or if I just wanted to add a photo. Let's say I took a photo of my signature. I'm going to do that right now. And it's best if you use kind of a felt, you know,
That
tip pen just for a little more. And I don't have a, and it's best to use a printer paper. Try that. So I'll just show this to the camera.
So Jim, can you do this as your new sideline on the weekends and, you know, people pay you to do their contracts?
Well, we'll see. I learned by when the day that I agreed to it, to do this demo, I had just sent mine out and learned how to do it like 3 days prior. So it's still kind of new, but I do like it. And so this is my signature that I just made that I want to take a photo with my phone and add it to upload that. So this is the process. Some people just aren't comfortable with the digital part, and this kind of merges the two
I like
technologies.
to type it in and change the font myself.
Yeah. So whatever you're most comfortable with, but if you've got 500 or plus or whatever to send out, or if you've got 2, they'll want to do it differently. So it doesn't matter.
And if you have bought a house in the last 5 years or remortgaged it, this is what you're going to do with all your paperwork.
So
Jim,
I'm
why
gonna-
why did you give people the option to sign on paper?
That's a hello sign type thing. Oh, you mean what you read my
Yes, in your email.
blurb? All right, you're one of the 2 that read it. I gave them that option because I knew there were going to be some that just refused to do it this way, and we need to get them in there. It's kind of like with direct draft for checks. I want to get the bulk of them transitioned before I force it, you know, a hard force. And I've had 2 that have one. They were just insistent on doing the printing it and signing it manually. That's okay. You know, we can check them off. I'll show you how to deal with that on the tracking later. But it's not something I want to continue after this. This was my implementation year. So it was just kind of help wean them off of that physical method. That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay. I've got to change my file because my iPhone took it in the wrong format. It took it in a high quality HEC, but I'll fix it. There we go. File. Export. PNG. All right, there it is. So I can make it a little larger or adjust contrast. So if it had shadows or something, you can do that. But since I did that, I can rotate it if they took it. I think it's only, yeah, it's full 90 degrees. So it's not like an angle. So I can insert that one if I'd like. So just go ahead and do that. And it's kind of small. So I want to edit. And let's see what this 4th option is. These are saved signatures. That's just kind of a quick one. So let's use the Bugs Bunny on this one. And that's how it looks. So it kind of depends on your picture or your upload or how you write it. But those are the different options to apply your digital signature. So once I've done that, it tells me you've completed all required fields. There was only one. Hit continue. Almost done. Do you agree to this? Yes, I agree. And it's done. So if I go back to my documents, this part is usually pretty quick. Here it is. Notice it says signed. If I'd have put in my title, I can rename this. So let's say So my organization, if I didn't do it the first round, I can put Jim Robb. Now just for my auditing or kind of, checking on the status, it's been signed. If I want to download a PDF of that signed document, I can. We're going to look at that in just a second. There's a lot of other options you have. You can share it. You can if it's pending, you can resend it. So you can right click and you can preview it, or you can hit resend. This will email icon, email reminder, not resend. You can do that. Our bulk send. So that's where you have to, we sent one off. It should have processed by now, so I can kind of check its status. And here it is. Here's the process. So currently, no one has signed it. I can view progress to see exactly who has and who hasn't. So each member is still pending. Have any of you signed it yet?
I will see if I can.
Okay.
There it is.
And here you can download sign. Now, I wanted to show you the audit trail. The one kind of limitation or thing that I don't like about HelloSign is it is reporting. So if they've signed it, you can download all of them. That's really nice. It has an individual PDF for each one that includes an audit trail. So I'm going to bring up my demo. This is the contract when I downloaded it after signature. So if you go, see it's at 2 pages. And sorry, that's kind of slow. You can see my signature. There it is. And then if I keep scrolling, you can see the audit trail. And so that shows when it was sent, when it was signed or viewed, signed, and that it's been completed. So that's a nice feature. But the list of pending signatures, the reporting on that's not that efficient. I did find a way to send out a document to my principals so they would know, but I had to do that in Excel. I had to copy the information from the window and then paste it into Excel and work it out. So these are all the ones that have pending signature because I did it in status. This is our high school. They got a lot of people. So I put the pendings up top so they would know, hey, they need to sign their contract. It also lets me know to send reminders. So I grouped all of mine when I sent them out. I tagged on the subject line their location. So this 703 is our high school, and 56 of 96 have done so. If I wanted to, I can click view progress. And this is what I'm talking about. Reporting's not, it's kind of limited. I can click on this one, the pending signature, and hit remind signers. I can select all pending, which that's pretty good, and remind signers, which I'm going to do that. I haven't done that for this group yet. So I'm just going to go ahead and remind them. And that just automatically sends them an email and with a link, the same link, so that they can sign their contract if that is their intention. So they've been reminded after the initial send one time, because I set that up manually. You can set it up to automatically remind users, every 5 days or whatever interval that you select. But what I didn't like about that is you see there's no print off to say I don't need to print a list or email that list or copy that list. I'm going to show you my workaround, and then that's what's available now, and hopefully they'll kind of improve that process. All right, so what I did is I just clicked in here and selected everything inside that window. I copied it, and I'm using my, can't see it because of the tab. There we go. Let's see, conditions. And I pasted it. Here's a problem. All right. Notice it put the signed underneath, or the status underneath each one. I'll show you a little trick. Some of you may have a better way with a formula or something. You know, it's whatever works best for you. But I'm going to insert a row above, and then I am going to copy just this. And let's see, I need that to be here. So I shifted it one row above and pasted. Now I'm going to put a name, status. I'm going to filter it. So this might be, if this throws some of you off, I'm sorry, but this is just bonus to kind of know what's going on. And then I'm going to filter by signed. I want to clear everything. Oh, wrong one. Clear, and then I'm just going to select pending and signed. There's pending, and here is signed. So again, this is just some bonus stuff. Then I'm going to select, see how that's 357, it's every other row. I want to select it.
Delete it.
Delete that. And then show it. And now I have a good list that I can sort by A to Z, by pending or signed. Now, I'm not going to go through this part where you break it up. I'm just going to show, I showed you on the manual, and then my latest Cognos, I did this right. I just didn't know how it interfaced with HelloSign when I first pushed this out. Use the last name first for HelloSign in the name column. That way, this you can sort it by alphabetically, and then also when you get your previews of your status, if I have one of those open, yeah, then this would also be in order by last name. And so that was just kind of a learning thing that I wish I'd have known. In the name field, I would put last name first and have it in alphabetical order when you send it out on your CSV. You can do that in Cognos. I've done that after that, but the ones I sent out to my campuses, I did not have that set. But that allows you to make that list, and you can insert check boxes, and that way you can just send them. It's like, hey, here's your principal. These are the people that need to be, that still haven't signed their contract, and I want to talk to them. All right, let's, so some of those have probably signed.
I signed, see if I came back.
Okay, let's see. It would be under it would be under the documents, not the bulk send. Oh, no, it was under bulk send. Oh. Well,
Uh-oh.
I don't know what the error is, but it says 4 or 5 signed, so I wonder if that's just a refresh issue. I think I've had that one time, and I had an email address wrong.
Oh,
So I might have typed in one of, so I noticed there's one that didn't work. Probably my own, yeah. Anyway, so everybody has signed. I can select all pending. I can't do that there, but this, let me show you how the signed works as far as I want to download and view them. So I want to download. Go ahead.
I said it was really easy to sign and send back to you, so.
I thought so. I thought it was a very intuitive for the user, the end user part. So should send me a link, says it's ready, download documents. Your document is ready. I'm going to download it. And this should be 4 of them. Here they are. And it tags on the email address. So let's look at Kathy's. She was quick to sign that $1 million contract. And there it is. There's the $1 million for Bugs Bunny. And Bugs Bunny lives on 123 Rabbit Hole, Looney Tunes, Arkansas. Signatures are there for the
They're
board
aliens,
members.
Kathy Hanlon, yeah.
Yeah, and here's the there's your signature that you put in, and then here's the audit trail. So that makes it all official for contracts. And let's just check out some of the others. See what format people chose to use on the signature. It's all right. Kendall did it the manual way, drawing it in. Let's see, Tim, what'd you do?
Jim did a 12-part step that looks like.
Yeah. His looks good. I don't know what he did. He might. Did you use the text or did
No,
you?
I have a digital signature file that I
Got
use
it.
for all this stuff.
Got it. Okay. And Miss Lovelace. She used the text
Oh.
script. So, and since that put in Elmer Fudd rather than her name because that's what it was sent to. If that was what was in the name field, so it populated that.
Very cool.
And any questions? Because that's the bulk of it. In fact, that that's different ways to do it.
Now remind them what it costs you, Jim, because that's the big thing. It's amazing.
You can get in to HelloSign for as little as $300. I went with the $600. It's annual cost, $600 price because it gave me 15 templates, which is more than I'll ever need. As I showed you the templates, let me go back to that screen. And let's just look up HelloSign. And I'll just kind of explain their packages. Let's see pricing.
And again, none of us work for HelloSign. Jim just found this and it's a great deal
Yeah.
compared to what people are paying for other ones.
During the pandemic, I researched everything available: the Jot form, HelloSign, Adobe, DocuSign. There was another pretty common one. And Adobe and DocuSign, the way they're licensed as far as envelopes or templates or something like that, they were pricey, because it just really added up and it didn't leave it, especially a learning curve. I think Adobe, every time you sent one out, you were charged, whether let's say you had this like, oh no, crap, that's not how I wanted it. And you just delete it, you still charged for it. I didn't like that at all. The DocuSign was a little better as far as forgiving on the, whether or not you really used it or not, but it was just priced. It was hard to understand as far as the envelopes, which is sort of like templates, but it was complicated and it was more expensive. But you can use it for free, but you can only request 3 signatures per month. So if you had some other business purposes, this might be good. Just to get started and kind of learn how to use it. I don't think you have bulk send. Of course, that wouldn't make any sense if you can only send 3. So you wouldn't be able to learn how to use that. The essentials, you can do it yearly, $180. But this only has 5 templates, which may be good for you. So that'd only be $180 to get started. That's only one user. So my login to HelloSign, if I had this product, I'd be the only one that could log in, view contracts, print them, print statuses, create them, utilize the templates or anything like that. But it does integrate. This is a pretty feature-rich package. Branding is added in the $600 a year package, plus up to 4 users. I think this is per user. Yes. It's $600 per user. So if I wanted to pay $1,200 and so I could have another person manage that, I could, but it was $600 just for me. But it's unlimited signatures on up to 15 templates. So you can do that every year, and it's pretty good. Mobile app, which I've demoed several of these. I haven't demoed team features, and we don't have SharePoint or Salesforce. But the branding, I can't remember if I utilized that or not. I know I put it on my template, and that's it. I mean, the one bigger than that is premium, and I have no idea what that price is. You have to call, but this one is more than enough for me. And I mean, technically, you could just get a single account. It'd be tied to someone's email, but y'all could have a generic email if you just wanted for your office. And because it was typically one person, but occasionally you might have to have this other person step in, which is why I'm doing this, is because our contract lady was out of the office for several months. So that's why I learned how to do this. Any questions on the pricing for HelloSign?
Jim, I don't have a pricing question, but I did have a question that I think you can help me with. We did use HelloSign and send our contracts out, but I had a problem when I was doing the conditions at the bottom. When I drug the box longer because I didn't know how many, how much text, how many characters of text were going to be there. And I set my font to Arial 10.
Okay.
It still would make the font bigger if there was less text, but I noticed yours didn't do that. Was there anything you had to do to get it to do that?
Okay, so it was, I was going down that when I was listening to you, and I was thinking it will shrink it to fit. But you're saying that it didn't make it, it made it bigger when it, like, instead of being a hard 10 font, it made it a 16 font because you had excess space.
Exactly.
But
yours looked good because when I saw you scroll down, you had some different conditions, and one was a paragraph and was the right size, and the other one was, just a line.
Yeah.
But if that has not occurred for you, I'll just reach out to HelloSign and ask them. I just didn't know if you found a fix.
I've done Adobe and HelloSign, so I might be getting them mixed up. But I think let's go down to conditions. Yeah, okay, so there's
right there.
Yeah, that's just a hard 10. I think it was Adobe because I'd used that Adobe Acrobat because I have the license for that, but it's not like a bulk send license, but I can just do some one-off. You can really control that with Adobe. And so Adobe and DocuSign, they may have more features like, is that Sarah? I just recognize your voice. I can't see anybody.
That's Angie Hudson.
Oh, Angie, okay. I think HelloSign is kind of in its early stages. It is, a Dropbox company. So, I mean, it's not like it's a new company, but it's not as vetted out and researched and updated as DocuSign or Adobe products, but it's a lot less expensive. So there may be, I don't know if that fluctuated for you, why that fluctuated, but I'm not saying that you have any more control than what you did.
Okay, well, thank you. And thank you so much for doing this and sharing the program with us because it did work great and we appreciate you.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad it helped. Any other questions about any of it? I'm done unless someone has a question. Want me to go back over the template or something to the process?
Well, I do have a question, but it really specifically doesn't have to do with HelloSign. And this shows because I don't work in this area, so I don't have direct knowledge of it. And I think I've been given the answer before, but why do school districts in Arkansas have to jump through all of these hoops for contracts rather than using the contracts features that are built into eFinance and the contract workflow where employees can sign contracts in Employee Access Center?
Well, that feature as far as Employee Access Center, I haven't seen it, but I heard with the upgrade, with the most recent upgrade, now that will be available to districts to use to where employees could assign their contract through Employee Access Center. But we got converted, I don't know, a month or two ago. But there's not, we'd have to do a call in to do contracts through there. But one reason why I didn't want to do it that way, number one, I wasn't as familiar with the whole process as our contract person was out that normally does this. So I had to learn a lot of other stuff just to get to this point. And I'm more familiar with PDF and editing and CSV files. So that kind of helped me. But the biggest reason that I like this is the conditions, because that is information that's not in Cognos, because it's not typed in there. Now that may be possible to create a field in eFinance that can be used to type in that information. I just don't know how to do it. I mean, is that something that others know how to do? It's kind of like is there a subject? We have full discretion over a subject code, but now it's limited to 2 characters.
You can, when you're using Cognos to create your contracts, you have access to the condition field. But you would have to do it either, and in a large district, my conditions had to be kind of generic.
Yes.
Because you can do it, you can pull in by a pay group or a job class, but getting those in like your individuals on ALPs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for a large district, my contract might say, if you are on an ALP, progress must be met, or Yeah. So it would have to be a little more generic.
Yeah, and we wanted for legal reasons, we've had this burn us before. Well, that's not stated on my contract, or and so a generic term for these ALPs just didn't cut it. As duties as assigned doesn't hold as much water as it used to. So that's why we did it. It was really hinges on the conditions field, and then the EAC signature just hadn't really come around, until late in the game
So
for this year.
Tim, it may be a real possibility for next year for people. Right now, for the districts we manage, out of 10, I think there's only 2 that are on the new one yet. We convert everybody else next month.
But I was just curious, and I hope that it's a feature that will save districts having to jump through the hoops that we've always had to jump through for contracts, if they could actually be generated directly from eFinance.
Or better yet, let's just get rid of contracts because they're silly.
Yeah, that's what my research recently has stated. It's really unnecessary. Just why we put the original hire date. The employee, unless there's been a non-renewal letter and the opportunity for a hearing and justified reasons for non-renewal, whether it be a RIF or they did something that really broke their contract where you can employ them, they're hired. You're contractually obligated to hire that individual unless whether this contract exists or not. Now the employee, it kind of binds the employee, teacher for say, from leaving you, but they've got 30 days to change their mind. So even that, the contract kind of helps. Let's say they signed their contract in June 1 or May 31st, and then August 15th, they say, no, I want to go work for another Arkansas school district. That's where the contract keeps you from helps the employer, the district, from saying, whether you want to allow them to do that. If you want to hold them to working for you, you can.
And they'll be such a happy, good employee.
Yeah.
Stay. Not to mention, it's pretty hard. you know, I've never really seen a whole lot of enforcement of you left, so we're gonna freeze your license or whatever. But anyway,
Well, I was just doing a quick read on the contract center documentation for e-finance 20.11.
Mhm.
And it does look like there's a table that it just says this is a custom table used for any information your district wants to include with the contract. And there's a current year and a future year. So it looks like the capability's there. So I hope somebody will play around with that and push AppScan to support it.
I can see everybody now. Sorry. Any other questions? Yeah, I agree, Tim. Shannon?
Yeah. We were wondering if anybody does student side or not. Any kind of documents on student side, or if your district, you know, you've signed up for the 15 templates, are you using it with everybody or?
Yes, you could. We have that was one of the reasons why I didn't like Adobe, the licensing portion. Because let's say you had a document that you wanted to send out to all your students and your participation was just terrible. You know, or your information, your email addresses and stuff was inaccurate. But you put one out there and it doesn't get used. Well, then you paid for it. That's what I didn't like about it. But there are some student documentations. We recently changed we put them in our handbook, but for vision and hearing, allowing to bill, so allowing the district to bill for vision and hearing. We changed our policy so that it read that the form was an opt-out rather than an opt-in. So therefore, we only had to go, there's a process, I don't know if many of you use this, but deal with this on the student side for all to automatically do kind of an import to check the box that I can bill for everybody, you know, every student, and then have the nurse or the campus principal, whoever received the opt-out letters, you know, the returned signatures that they want to opt out from being billed. And then the nurse has the rights with he or she's authentication rights, have the right to go into that screen, uncheck the box, and then I can do an export later in the year because we use a third-party service for the billing to send them who we bill vision and hearing. So we could change that signature form to that method, but the problem with it is having email addresses for all your students.
and we have heard of a district that was doing, well, mostly during COVID, they were doing Zoom IEPs and they used like DocuSign to sign the IEPs. I am not saying you can do that or you cannot do it. I am just reporting that it happened. Because, you know, goodness knows I'm no special ed expert. But yeah, you could use it for some other student things, I would imagine, that could be very handy.
Yeah, I think it'd be best in not the bulk send, but in the, you know, you got to send it to 20 different individuals and just do, you know, fill out do the send for each one, because it won't be that, it'll probably be unique. It won't be all
I
that.
could see it on an opt-out of like your media policy where you know, your children can't have their pictures in anything.
Mm-hmm.
You want people, here again, you could word it, they will be in unless you opt out. And that would be, you know, you could even, in that case, maybe put the form on your website and just let them pull it down. So there's some
Great.
definite student uses you could do.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? We don't want to keep you all day or anything.
I have one question really quick, Kathy.
Hey, you
About the 15 templates. The 15 templates in the package that you have, is that for the 4 users to share, or does everyone get?
No, I misunderstood that the very first time. It's 15 templates per user, and that user is the $600. But if you wanted 4 users, you would pay $2,400. I miss
Right.
the first time I went through there, it's saying that you can buy this package if you have up to 4 users. And I think unless this is $600 is good for 2, this is kind of read it in a couple different ways. So it's because it says $25 per user per month. And so really, if you wanted to do it this way, I buy my license, I've got 15 templates. And then and we did do it this way. Our tech director for some student forums bought a license for him. He has 15 templates and he only paid $600. So together we paid $1,200, but we got 30 templates to use between us. It's just my 15 are only good for my account and his 15 are only good for his.
That's what we were wondering, because we were thinking if SPED did this, they would use so many templates and
I would
ours too. So
buy their package and they'll have 15 at their discretion.
thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. We want to really thank Jim for doing this. You know, he's a great one to pioneer new technologies, so we appreciate him so much.
No.
And if y'all have questions, call him, not me.
Email me. I'm terrible about answering phone or especially returning calls. So, but email, I'm a lot better.
Hey Jim, are you planning on coming to Hot Springs for a vacation?
Well, I am in Central Arkansas pretty often. So, yeah, if you want to meet up at a conference or something, I can.
No, I want to meet up at my office so you can do my stuff for me.
It's lovely this time of year. You really want a
Yeah.
vacation there.
Yeah, come on over to the lakes.
Well, I'll be glad to help you out with your template if that's what you're referring to on that's kind of the hardest part to wrap your brain around, because there's not a lot of good documentation for their support. They say bulk send, here's your template, and they literally have the 2 fields, name and email address. So they didn't give you an example of.
Once you share your Cognos template, that would be very helpful.
Okay, I'll also share the headers to this.
That would be
Yeah.
helpful.
And then that's the bulk of it. And then I'll share the formula of how I created the conditions page. So the conditions page is just text, but I have it's been deleted because I flattened this just to prevent any kind of mix-ups with my stuff, because I filtered it. But I had a VLOOKUP formula that references this page. And so I'll just kind of go through the formula. If employee ID in this field right here matches this field, place this information in this field. That's what the formula does. And so it'll do it for all your employees. I'll share the formula and I'll share my headers and kind of a blank one of these that you can drop your stuff in. You can copy your CSV, paste it in on right underneath the header right here.
Yeah.
And hopefully that gets you a long way. You might have to do a little tweaking just to make sure it matches your stuff. But I'll share my Cognos template as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, anybody else? With that said, thanks, everybody. Guess we'll see you at Focus at Finance at the end of the month. And thanks for listening. Have a good day.
Thank y'all. Have a good day.